Welcome back. We're back in my prayer corner. It's been a long time since I've been home. There's so much to share. It is late. It's almost midnight. But I cannot. I look like I'm bald, first of all. Do you love that I make YouTube videos looking like this? I hope you do. I hope you love that there's a corner in the world where someone shows up just as themselves. So not a stitch of makeup on this face and my hair straight out of the bath. Soak it in. Here we go. Sunday, I spoke on a stage. And it was the best speech I'd ever given. Presentation, experiential, whatever we want to call it. But Sunday, I arrived. Like, this is it. This is it. I want to speak on stages all over the world. It is the easiest, most delightful, most peaceful thing I do. Which is so wild. It was everything. It brought me so much joy. And here's why it brings me joy. Because when I'm leading, I see in the audience men, tears streaming down their face. I see the light within them awaken. I see their divine self rising up. And I watch the room shift. I think my favorite moment is when I told people if they signed this paper and they ran to the back of the room, they would get a free book. And I watched the cameraman put down his camera and run to the back of the room. And it is not me. It is that I let God speak through me. And to feel that was a stamp that this is the path I now walk. So, more stages, more people's lives altered, changed in the most beautiful way. And that's just so. Now today is a really beautiful day for a lot of reasons. God always works with me with dates. Always. It's like me and God's language. Dates hold sacred intention, and God will do new things on specific dates. So 3 years ago today, Keira Brinton was born. So the week of March 10th, I think it was March 7th, God said, on Friday, you need to get your name changed. I was only 3 months divorced. That's so much work, right? And I was like arguing with God, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go get my name changed this week. It's not like imperative. And God said, you need to get your name changed. So I put it on my calendar. I had literally a 45-minute window praying that no one was going to be there. It's a Friday afternoon. No one was there. I literally walk in, go straight to the counter, give them all my information. I'm signing the documents. And as I'm signing the documents, I sign the date. And when I sign the date, I see that it is my ex-husband's birthday. And God said, on the day that he was born, Keira Brinton would die. And that was my married name. And God told me to have a funeral for Keira Brinton. And so that night, I went home, and I was all by myself. I didn't have my kids that week. And I wrote down all the attributes of Keira Brinton that I wanted to die. All the playing small, all the subservient, all of the things that I had been for 20 years. I thanked her for them, and then I threw all the paper in a fire. It so happened that my goldfish died that day. So I put the goldfish in the fire, and we just had a full-blown funeral. Keira Brinton died, and I lay her to rest on this day 3 years ago in gratitude, because she got me here. Keira Brinton is the one that went through all of the heartache and all of the struggle and all of the pressure and all of the depression and the suicide ideation and all of the things that plagued her life. And they sculpted her and they strengthened her. And I thank her for being the woman that she was and being the woman brave enough to leave a marriage after 20 years, a marriage that was not a good fit for her, her husband, and her children, that she left without a fork, that she left without a pillow, that she left without anything but her 5 kids and her 12-seater van, her books, her clothes, and her Vitamix. That she was brave enough to be the woman who could do that. Sometimes I think about that version of me and I don't know how I did. I don't know why I was that brave. I don't know. How did I think I was gonna do it? I don't think I knew. I didn't know. I remember, I'll never forget the day I had to walk in to the mattress store and ask to buy 6 beds. I remember realizing, like, oh my gosh, I own nothing. And no one would rent to me. No one, because I had been married for 20 years. And I had barely started a business. And of course I wrote everything off, so I had no tax returns, and my parents were entrepreneurs, and my brother was an entrepreneur, and no one could co-sign for me. And I remember I had 7 days to find a house. I had 7 days to find a house. And it was like, what was I gonna do? I remember the day that my ex-husband looked at me and said, "You don't get the house. You can't buy me out, so you don't get it." And I went to God in prayer, and God said, do not fight for this house. Do not fight for alimony. Do not fight for child support. You leave clean, and I will take care of you. That was the deepest seed of faith I've ever had. I had to leap with so much faith. I bet everything on myself and everything on God. And I remember I had 1 day left to find a house. And I went to God and I was like, you have to deliver a home for me. You have to show up. And the next day we went and walked a house, and I had said to God I needed to have 4 bedrooms. I needed one of the bedrooms to be big enough for 3 beds, because my 3 boys had never slept in a room besides the same together. They had slept in the same room their whole life. And I did not want to break them up because of this divorce. Like, I needed them to keep this bond. And so I went to God and I said, I need one of the rooms to be big enough for my 3 teenage boys. I need 4 bedrooms, I need a backyard, and I want it to be by my sister. And the next day we walked a house, and it was everything I had asked for. And it wasn't like super nice, like the walls were brown, the doors were brown, the trimming on the walls and the ground were all the same color, the ceiling was brown, the whole thing felt like a cave. And yet it was the most beautiful house I'd ever seen, because it was everything I asked, and it was a 4-minute drive from my sister's house. And I remember that moment I walked down the stairs, and there was 2 women who were the realtors, and I looked at them and I said, I am an entrepreneur. I do not have money on my tax returns, but I have money in my bank. And I promise I will pay my rent. Will you rent to me? And they said, we are women who left marriages. We are entrepreneurs. Show us your bank statements. And so I gave them my bank statements. Luckily, I'd had 3 huge cells go through which had put enough money in my bank to take care of me and my children for 4 months, and it allowed them to rent to me. And that day was one of the best days of my life because I knew that I could put a roof over my children's head. And I remember we didn't have a table for a very long time. We had this black desk. I got it on Amazon for $100. And there was 6 of us, and somehow we had to eat around this small black desk. I'll never forget. Before I got divorced, I had a tent on the land because it didn't feel safe for me to have my sacred practice in my home. It just wasn't the right environment. It was not something that my husband at the time got, he didn't really believe in it. And he thought it was weird that I wore a prayer shawl and I blessed my body with water. I mean, most people think that's weird. And so I had bought a tent, a green army tent, and I placed it on my land so I could go out and bless my body and pray and work with God. And it was my sacred space. And my children would always come out into the tent and rest in there with me. And I'll always remember the first day that we were in our home. And I was laying in this corner that I had created, this soft rugs and pillows, and I was laying there. And my son came up and snuggled me, and he said, "Your tent used to be your sacred space, but now you have a whole house that is your sacred space." So while today is the 3rd anniversary of when Keira Brinton died, today I honor her more than ever because it was her courage. It was her faith. It was her belief and betting on herself and betting on God. Little did she know that she would build a $3 million company in 3 years. Little did she know that she would have an Amazon Prime TV show coming out. She had no idea. She just left with faith and courage that God would show up for her. And today, so many miracles have happened today. God has been so loud. And I was just taking a bath to wind down because I've been working all the way up till 11 p.m. And I was in the bath and I was resting. And then I heard an audible voice and God said, "You made it." I was like, what? And it felt like I had made it to the next level of the video game. God said, "You made it." And then all of a sudden God reminded me that 1 year ago today, I had my first grand mal seizure. And that seizure kicked off a year that was so hard. 2025 broke me, destroyed me. I lived in a massive level of depression for about 9 months of last year. I don't know how I survived it. I don't know how I kept a company alive. I don't know how I had to make $200,000 a month consistently last year in the middle of a depression. I don't know how I did that. It was the hardest year. And it kicked off with that seizure a year ago today. And God just said to me, "You made it." God was like, "You made it to the hardest year." And so I did. Oh my gosh. And so I did. Oh, praise God. I praise God for all of this, for the courage, for the faith, for showing up for me time and time again. And for last year, where I felt like God was quiet for a whole year. 2025, I did not feel the miracles that I am used to. I did not feel like God was near. But for a whole year, even when the heavens felt silent, I continued to meet in devotion every day with the God who seemed to have quieted his mouth. I continued to sit with authors and pray because I knew that God was here, just very distant. And I'm so glad that that year is complete. So today I celebrate Keira Brinton, where she got me here. But I claim the rise of Keira Brinton and the work that she will do. Oh, I got boogers all over the place, you guys. I did not know we were going here tonight. Thank you for being here. I'm grateful to have this story recorded. And my light is about to go out. Can you feel it? With that, I love you for being here, and I will see you tomorrow night.